Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And man, we got a show here for you guys today that we definitely want you guys to stick around for. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, today we're going to be talking a little bit more about Kevin Durant. Now, as y'all know, Kevin Durant just recently joined the Phoenix Suns. They actually came off a pretty good win last night against the Denver Nuggets, the #1 seed Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference as the season comes to a conclusion. Most teams only have 5 or 6 games left in the season, so we're going to be closing pretty soon this season, getting ready for the playoffs. So we know that. Now, speaking of KD, there's also been this kind of back and forth between Kevin Durant and Charles Barkley, right? And Charles Barkley has been one of the people that has been kind of saying that, you know, Kevin Durant is a bus rider or whatever. You got to be the bus driver. What is he referring to? He's referring to when KD joined the Golden State Warriors. He joined an already great team, a championship contender like level type team, a team that had actually won the championship, but the year prior to him joining, they actually lost the championship. So I'm still trying to understand how that's the greatest team of all time that lost in the finals. But anyway, he joined that team, and then he was basically the difference. He joins the team. They go right back to the finals, back to back. They win 2 championships in a row. He was the finals MVP, by far the best player on the Golden State Warriors. That is not up for discussion in no way, shape, or form. We're not going to do that. We're not going to like go back and change history. He was the best player. Let's just stop right there. And there's a reason he won those finals MVPs. It wasn't close. So he goes out there, he wins those 2 finals MVPs, and then ultimately he leaves. And then people start saying, okay, well, what is KD going to be able to accomplish outside of Golden State, right? And then it created this thing where, because, you know, Charles Barkley is a top 75 player, former league MVP, former Dream Team player, gold medalist, all of that stuff, right? One of the greatest players of all time. And Charles Barkley was basically representing a sentiment about Kevin Durant, which is, yeah, you're a great player, but you got to do it as the man, right? And it seems like a lot of people have used that line of thinking to hijack Kevin Durant's legacy and try to find ways to poke holes in his legacy. Well, yesterday on ESPN First Take, they were having a round table, and it featured Brian Windhorst, who absolutely went off on people basically trying to water down Kevin Durant's legacy. So he gave his take on it. We have a show about it on the channel. But then when it came time for Kendrick Perkins to speak, Kendrick Perkins took a more direct approach by basically calling Charles Barkley by his name and basically saying that the only people that criticize championships are those who never won championships. But before we get into his comments, this video is brought to you by sponsor Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the T-Wolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Kendrick Perkins had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Kendrick Perkins had to say directly to Charles Barkley.
Well, Wendy, I totally agree with you, and I love your fire this morning. So
I'm all about this.
Let me explain something to you. The only people that try to degrade someone's championship is a person that never won a championship.
Yep.
Because they don't know the journey and how it feels. And I'm talking about former players that try to knock another player that then won a championship and they haven't accomplished a damn thing. And it may be talking about another person like Charles Barkley, who has been going at Kevin Durant. You don't know how it feels to win the championship because, damn it, you haven't done it. And damn it, you tried to go to the Houston Rockets your damn self and team up with Akeem Olajuwon because I'm from Texas and I was down with Clutch City. So I'm going to say that to you, Wendy. My thing with Kevin Durant is that I know he wants more. And my thing is this. When you look at a guy like LeBron James, yes, he went down to Miami and he won 2 championships. But you know what he needed? You know what he needed to fulfill and to solidify himself was to go back to Cleveland and deliver in great fashion. And I think Kevin Durant feels that way as well. We're not going to take those championships away from LeBron James in Miami. We're not going to take those championships away from Kevin Durant in Golden State. We can't. But what we can do is know that we can see more out of Kevin Durant and get more.
So you heard what he had to say. Now, to be totally honest with you guys, I had never thought about it from the angle that Kendrick Perkins just presented it from, which is it's easy to criticize something that you yourself haven't done. So the people that are trying to knock Kevin Durant's championships are people that never won championships. And I never really thought about it from that position. I never really did, to be quite honest with you. And it makes me begin to think about other great players that have commented on Kevin Durant, but that have won championships. If I think of one, for example, I think of Shaq, right? Shaq has made comments about KD, but I never heard Shaq say, you gotta be the man. As a matter of fact, I remember Shaq getting into that big argument with Charles Barkley on television over the comments that LeBron made. Basically, I think he was saying that the Cavaliers at the time were too top heavy, and Charles Barkley was like, "You want all the players you don't want to compete in," and Shaq was like, "No. If you knew anything about winning championships, you know you want to add more. You want to add more because teams are getting better and et cetera, et cetera. So you want to add as much talent as you possibly can." So I don't see. I can't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've never seen a player like Shaq who's won multiple championships, who played alongside another top 75 guy and Kobe Bryant, basically saying that KD needs to prove he can do it by himself. Now, with that being said, is the point, or is the argument that Charles Barkley, the argument he's putting forward, does it exist in the sports? I mean, in the sports community when we're talking about sports? Absolutely, because we can see the wonders this last ring did for Stephen Curry. Leading that team to the championship, winning his first Finals MVP. And basically people now, to some people, that catapulted him into the top 10, right? I don't think he's a top 10 player, but to some people they feel that way, which is your prerogative, whatever. So you can see when you're kind of the man. The same thing with Kawhi Leonard with the Toronto Raptors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a school of thought that says if this guy can do it as the number one guy without a quote unquote super team, is going to work wonders. Well, yes, it will, because the level of difficulty will be higher because you have less talent, so to speak. But does it take away from KD's championships? No. And I think that's the point that Kendrick Perkins was alluding to, where he's like, the only people that will dismiss championships so easily are probably people that have never won them. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. And that's why we're open it up to the audience. So the question is simply this. Do you think that Kendrick Perkins was right about his assessment of the critique Charles Barkley's had on Kevin Durant? Or do you think, no, Charles Barkley's right to take the position that he thinks? Or do you think it's a nuanced conversation? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section and we catch you guys on the next episode.